Reverend Dr. Marlon Tilghman, the lead pastor here at Ames United Methodist Church. Dr. Tilghman.
Good afternoon, everyone. Again, Reverend Dr. Marlon Tilghman, the pastor of Ames United Methodist Church, your host for this afternoon. Ames is the oldest black church in downtown Bel Air. We celebrate 148 years this year. So I'm thankful for God that we're still in the house, as they say. Amen? You are in the church, so you're going to hear me say amen at least a few times. All right? Just a few things. Here it is. So I'm here representing not only my church, but also Bridge Maryland Incorporated and the Racial Justice Alliance of Maryland. Both of these organizations stand for the values that make us who we are, values of love, compassion, empathy, and this sense of justice throughout our communities. And so as I speak today, I'm speaking from that lens that in order for us to really affect change, we need to remember one significant thing, and that is this: the only thing necessary for evil to exist is for good people to do nothing. Let me say that again. The only thing necessary for evil to exist is for good people to do nothing. And so as Dr. Barnes was sharing the history of the lynching piece, every time she talked about the church, she looked at me. And so I thought I might be here as a representative of at least the black church to try, and actually the Quakers, who actually stood up for racial justice in our communities, because indeed organized religion did play a significant role in white supremacy that has recently been emboldened since 2017, and we all know what happened in 2017. And so we find ourselves in a situation in society and in history where folks feel very comfortable in their whiteness. And because of this, we have to find ourselves even more emboldened in our unity. Because at the end of the day, we were all created in the image of God, and therefore we all share more in common than we have in difference. I did send a graphic to our AV team. I don't know if they were able to get it up, but if they aren't, I'm just going to simply describe it to you all. Something that I was looking up, someone has sent me a graphic about the difference between equality and equity. And in the midst of my research, I found out that there was actually a bit more to the graphic. There's actually a graphic that talks about reality, equality, equity, and justice. And so let me describe those to you as hopefully the graphic is coming up. The reality is one gets more than is needed while the other gets less than is needed. Thus, a huge disparity is created. That's the reality we live in right now. However, equality looks like the assumption that everyone benefits from the same supports. This is considered to be equal treatment. We feel that as long as everyone's getting the same thing, same access, that we have the same treatment, but we always don't start in the same place. And then there's equity. Everyone gets the support they need, which produces equity. As you can see in the image, everyone can see into the game. But at the end of the day, what we're really searching for is justice. If you notice, there's one thing that's removed in all three of these other obstacles, and that is the fence, the barrier that separates us from getting into the game. And that's when you see justice, when all three can see the game without support or assumptions, because the causes of the inequities was addressed, or as I like to say, erased. And so it is our charge that each time we see something, not only do we say something, but that we do something. Because when we do something, we will see the justice and equity in our communities that we all not only deserve, but we all want. Even at the end of the day, even when those who may think they are superior, at the end of the day, all we really want is peace. A peace of mind, a peace of heart, and a peace in our souls. And that's our charge. As we leave this place, not only do something, but not only say something, but do something. And then I'm going to leave you with this. How many of you are familiar with the book White Fragility? Anybody familiar with the book White Fragility? I can see I got some very woke folks in here, amen. In the book White Fragility, the authors whose name is, what was it? D'Angelo, right. She's in an interview, and she has in an audience some other white folks in the audience, and one of them said to her, what can we do to make a change in the African American community? And she looked at them and she said this quite frankly. She said this, and actually the video you can't find on YouTube anymore. They must have taken it down because I couldn't find it recently. But in the YouTube video, she says, "You look like a reasonably intelligent," and I believe the reason that you're asking me this question is not so much that you want to help, it's just that you don't have to help. And so she said, let me put it to you like this. Say, for instance, you walk into a doctor's office and the doctor says you have a minute melatonin something or other, and then all of a sudden left the room and never gave you any direction on what to do. What would you do? Now, excuse my French, but this is what she said. You would Google the hell out of that event in your life, that's taking place in your life. So at the end of the day, it's not so much that you don't know what to do, it's just that you don't care enough to do something about it. That's our charge, to care enough to do something about it, because at the end of the day, we're all united under one umbrella, and that umbrella is love. God bless you.